Okay, so I think the recording is already on, so I'm going to go ahead. For those of you, this is a gentleman that needs absolutely no introduction, but I always want to do justice because I know that we always have amazing guests that come on. We also have people that watch the recording as well, so we want them to know who David O is. David O handles, actually, let me do this here. Give me a second. I'm a little disoriented, I apologize. There we go. So this is what I should be starting with. So as we just heard, our SVP Sanaz will not be able to join us tonight, but I will be myself and David O. So as I was saying here, David O handles the regulatory affairs at Opulence Global. From his science and pharmaceutical background, David recognized the incredible value of Fairy Flawless as a world-class product that delivers on its promise of anti-aging. His enthusiasm continued with the Fountain of Life, which is the most powerful antioxidant from nature and the future development in the Safe Home Revolution collection. David is honored to be a part of this incredible journey as Opulence Global changes the lives of people. And your host is myself, yours truly, Ifrah Hassan, Lifestyle Director with Opulence Global. I've been with the company for 4 years now, and today, I'm proud to sit here to let you know that I have actually attained what many people dream of, which is a financial freedom within 2 short years. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome David O to the call. David, welcome to the call, sir.
There. Thanks for the nice introduction. Congratulations. I know you've done absolutely outstanding and should be very proud of what you've done and continued success. And I'm sure you're going to help other people reach that goal, right? So wonderful.
Thank you, David. That's very kind of you. I know that we met at the head office multiple times, and every time I enjoy talking to you and learning from you, especially on the product call every Monday. So it's an honor and pleasure to have you once again. And I guess what we're going to get started, David, with the overall, the background that you can see here. You see all these phenomenal products in the back. So the Safe Home Revolution in general, for anyone who's looking at this call today for the first time, what do we mean by when we say Safe Home Revolution?
Yeah, I think that's something we started looking at over time. We started looking at some of the things that we take for granted as being safe in our within our family homes. And I think there's a broad assumption always is that the products that we're using, they do pass tests and all that. And we're not saying that it's all bad. However, it's something that we shouldn't take for granted. When we started looking at things like toothpaste, and we realized that, in our toothpaste, they have warnings on it telling us that we have to contact their poison control center if we should ingest it. I've been using the same toothpaste for years, and I never even noticed that, to be honest with you. So it sort of surprised me. And then we started doing a deep dive into all this, and we realized that there are some issues with the products that we see, like things like fluoride, and we started asking questions as to why are we using this? Like, why do we have fluoride in a product? But more importantly, once we determine that, there are potential issues, neurological development, diabetes type 2, all these things that our children are exposed to. You start asking, well, what can we do about this? And it's really easy to say, let's just not put fluoride into our toothpaste. And a lot of companies do that or have done that, except that their toothpastes are a dentist's dream. And what I mean by that is that they just do not stop cavity formation and periodontal disease. And the reason being that fluoride hardens the teeth to protect the teeth against the bacteria that secretes acids that cause a tooth decay. And so we had to really think about, well, what can we do? If we really believe that we wanted to come up with something that's better, a better mousetrap, for lack of a better word. So what we developed was a toothpaste without fluoride, but we added in microsilver. And why do we add in microsilver? Well, there are studies done over in Europe that really showed the efficacy of microsilver against periodontal disease, halitosis, all these things associated with the bacteria in their mouth. And so when we added that in, we realized that we can create an effective toothpaste. We can create a toothpaste that will actually eliminate the bacteria that's causing periodontal disease. And so instead of hardening the teeth, we're getting rid of the bacteria that causes it. Now, the people, someone's going to say, well, how does that work? What does silver do? Well, when we're brushing our teeth, we're actually depositing silver on our gums, and it releases ions over time, and the ions disrupt the transport mechanisms of bacteria, and it causes it to perish. It's quite simple. That's how silver works on these things. And silver has proven to be very effective. The very same silver that we're using in our toothpaste and Fairy Flawless Quad AG onto Sterling and Fairy Microsilver Spray, that silver is being used in the implant technology. This is a stuff that they're adding into our hip replacements, into our knee replacements, and they're doing it to reduce the amount of the possibility of infections from forming at those operative sites. And I think that, we're using a medical grade silver that just shows how effective this really is. So, we have a product there. We have several products now, but I'm talking basically about the toothpaste that eliminates bacteria. So it gives us options. And that was sort of the beginning of, what our safe home can't speak tonight, revolution. That's where it really started. And that thought process, but we did a dive back into Fairy Flawless and the philosophy and what we're trying to create there. And again, that's sort of, at that point in time, we realized that, we had developed these products under the similar philosophy. We wanted to, we're looking at products, we're looking at end products without certain types of elements that have the potential to cause issues in our health. And so, Fairy Flawless was designed on that. When I came on board at the time of Fairy Flawless, and all I did was I was reading the actual ingredient list one day, and I thought that this is a pretty neat product. And I've done this enough times that I knew that just by the ingredient list that this product would be really anti-aging. And you don't see that too often. A lot of times you see it hydrating. You see that it's not a bad product. I couldn't understand the pricing of some products out on the marketplace, but I thought this product line is interesting because it really is going to do something, and people who use it will see a big difference. So I was pretty enthused about that, and that's how I started with Opulence. I just bumped into Ramin Ms. Garlu one day. I was at the office, and I just told him, I said, well, congratulations. I said, this is good. Excuse me, is a remarkable product. And I said the same thing to Sanaz. I just said, you got a remarkable product. I said, I know it's going to do well. People use it, will see a big difference in their skin. And they'll see the benefits of real true anti-aging from that. And I could just do it from the ingredient list. Excuse me, apologize. I'm not sick, I just swallowed incorrectly. So, that's where it all started. But then we have Fountain of Life. And then we followed out with Fountain of Life, Fountain of Life. And if you're new to this, Fountain of Life is one of those incredible products that took years to get to the market. I talked to the doctor who discovered it, I think now 13, 14 years ago. I had lunch with him. And we had this long discussion. I remember we were up in shops on Don Mills there. And it was really, we had a nice restaurant. We're just talking about things, and we were discussing what he had discovered. And I asked him, I said, you've got this Piceavis extract. And it's a real powerful antioxidant, and it does all these wonderful things. And we talked about how it's absorbed by the body and what it does. And he had all this anecdotal evidence that it does something. He had friends using it, friends that were told they had terminal diseases that were still using the product and doing well with it. And the philosophies and understanding that perhaps people can live with some of these deadly diseases. They might not be able to cure it, but they might be able to live with it. And we started exploring that thought process and talking about it. But I asked him, point blank, I said, if you got this wonderful product, why on earth don't you have it on the market? He said that you could not prove to a government that you can eat a tree because it's from the Norwegian spruce. He said, perfectly safe. I went through all the toxicology reports, everything. I said, well, you can't even get toxic on this. And honestly, we had to put a limit, and we just put a limit of like 35 bottles at one sitting, a fountain of life. In other words, virtually impossible to do that. Like, I mean, who would do that? Number one. Number two, you probably not feel well after a while because the taste would get to you. But it's just ill-advised to do that. And no, I'm not challenging anyone to do that. So please don't do that. But as far as it being toxic, really is a non-toxic product. Again, safe. Safe for the environment, safe for the home, everything. But the thing is that it was totally efficacious, and the thing, it reduced the chronic inflammation that so many of us are faced with on a daily basis. And I thought that's really important. And I've been using it for quite a few years because I've had to. It hasn't made me prettier, but what it's done is help my knees. I ruined my knee, my left knee, because I broke my leg a couple times, and I paid the price of being really dumb. And I've injured myself a lot, but again, it's something that I use and I need on a regular basis because it does address chronic inflammation. And I notice that when I give it to people, when I let people try it, they immediately see an impact. And that's the thing that surprised me. It does vary from person to person, but those people who've been suffering for long periods of time and who are used to the chronic inflammation in their bodies, they're seeing a difference. So yeah, when we talk about safe home revolution, we're talking about these products that are impactful, that actually work, but at the same time, they're not toxic to us. They're not toxic to the environment. They're perfectly safe. So I think that I like that philosophy. I like the philosophy that we're able to help people. Uh, I think that the future is bright because I've seen some of the products that we're working on right now. So it's exciting. So.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for giving us an overlook.
Sorry, I talked too much, but I apologize.
No, it was good. It was good. Good information. I had no idea after all these years of watching you, week after week, that you actually met the scientist 14 years ago. I didn't know that. And speaking of Fountain of Life, actually, it was the time that Fountain of Life was introduced that I also became part of Opulence Global. So I always say Fountain of Life and I are the same age because we came into Opulence at the same time.
Just the beginning, though, because you know what? There's a follow-up product, an adjunct product coming out that that's going to make it. Oh, it's going to make it that much more exciting.
Oh yes, definitely. I want to touch on a lot of that. But first, just to go back on the Fountain of Life, you mentioned how it helped with your inflammation. My mom, same thing, 15 years, she suffered from arthritis. And I remember 3 days after taking it, she starts telling me, oh, I feel a bit of relief because before when she was going up and down the stairs, between the
Yeah,
living room and the dining room, there's a staircase in the house. So she had issues. And then within 3 weeks, no problem at all. She was able to go up and down the stairs, stand for a long period of time, even do her walking better. And one of the things that is her daily prayers as well. Like one of the movements when we're praying is put our forehead on the floor. And she had such a hard time for 15 years. And it helped her with that. And then there's someone like myself where it helped me with my iron, my allergies, and as well as my digestion issues. And other people talk about diabetes and blood pressure. So the question is, how is it that one product is able to help with people with so many different issues, not cure them, but help them with those issues? Can you talk about that?
sure. I'm glad you said it's not a cure because it really doesn't cure anything. But what it does, and the reason it's so widespread, and in a way, it's sort of hard. Like when you're on this side, you're talking about this. It sounds like you're selling snake oil. Like you're saying, well, people say, well, you're saying cardiovascular, you're saying cancer, you're saying dementia. They said, yeah, right. But, bear with me for 1 second that we're talking about the same root cause. unfortunately, the disease states, presents differently in many people. But the root cause is chronic inflammation, not acute inflammation, but chronic inflammation. And what happens is that free radicals, and if you don't know what a free radical is, it's just a molecule missing an electron. And when it bombards our body, what happens is that these free radicals will try and steal an electron. It sounds very innocuous, but it really, when we're young, it doesn't really matter because we have our defenses there. We have the ability to fight it off with our natural defenses like glutathione and superoxide dismutase. We have that built in, but as we grow older, we lose that. We lose the ability to make it as efficiently. And so what happens when we're bombarded with this? And what are the free radicals from? Well, smoke, pollution, stress, all these things cause that. And yes, we do need free radicals for digestion and all that. So it's not a wholly evil thing, but when it bombards our body and overwhelms our body, it creates health issues, potential health issues, because it's damaging the cells. Our healthy cells are getting damaged because it's stealing that electron. So what we wanted, and that leads to oxidative stress. And oxidative stress leads to chronic inflammation. So it's just a cycle. So what does chronic inflammation do? Well, chronic inflammation presents in many different ways. It could be cardiovascular disease. It could cause us to have a lowering of the HDLs, the high density lipoproteins, that increase our LDLs. It could cause us to become insulin resistant. It could cause us to, in the worst stages, cancer can develop from this because it's got constant bombardment and changes to our cellular structure. And all this sounds just horrible, and it is horrible. But lignans in the diet, and they started doing studies on this and taking a look back in time, and they discovered that societies that took in high lignin counts on a daily basis had a 30% lower incidence of cancer and cardiovascular disease. And they started studying that, wondering what the heck was going on there. Then they started looking at our foodstuffs, and they realized, and they did not know this for years, and this is only recent, that a lot of our grains back then was high in lignans. And lignans might be a foreign term to you, but it's just a plant antioxidant found in the cell walls of a plant. And believe me, if you feel it's a foreign word, I thought it was a foreign word in 14 years ago too. I didn't know what it was. And I had to ask the doctor what the heck he's talking about. He's from Finland. I didn't understand him. And so, I had to go on that learning curve as well. So it's not part of our lexicon, but something that's really important that we should understand, that overall, we don't take in enough lignans on a daily basis. Which I never thought about, who thinks that, well, I need more lignans. They'll say, have you eat your greens? Have you had a balanced diet? All that. They don't talk, you're eating fiber. They don't say, have you had any lignans? I never had my doctor say that, but lignans are important. And so as we increase the lignan intake, and we should be taking 50 milligrams a day to 100 milligrams, where right now the average person is taking 1 milligram. So that's a challenge. So that's why we're in this chronic inflammatory state. This is why we have, there is an influx of cardiovascular disease, it's an influx of diabetes type 2 and cancer. All these awful diseases are the result of this. And so when we introduced Fountain of Life, I think to our surprise, it impacted more people than we anticipated. We thought it would make a difference. We thought that it would be a product that would make a difference. Because believe me, if you take vitamins, I have never heard anyone say, well, I've been taking vitamin C for the past 2 weeks. Man, do I ever feel that pain's gone? I don't know if anyone's ever said that. I've never said that. But all of a sudden, people are seeing the quality of life change. I've had people call me in tears, talking about how it's changed their life because some were bedridden. And this is not to get maudlin about things. It sort of shocked me that this has impacted people on such a deep level. And so I think that that it's really important to understand, the potential of our products and this product Fountain of Life. So I would encourage people to use it, try it for sure.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You're right. When I first took it, for me, it was just for my iron. I had no idea it was going to help with, my digestion and my allergies and all that. So you're right. It's amazing. It's so, multifaceted what it can do. Now, the question I have for you is, this is something that often happens. I actually asked not long ago on Tuesday, we have a Opulence tour here in Ottawa. And I had a guest who came, and at the end, I was giving out samples of the Fountain of Life. And he said to me, I'm perfectly healthy. Why do I need to use it? So what would be the right answer for someone who says that?
I'm glad they're perfectly healthy, you know, but still the reality is that we live all in the same environment. We live in an environment that is very harsh. We don't realize it. We live in Canada or whatever. We always think, well, Canada's a pretty good place, mind you, but it's still a harsh environment. We're still bombarded by UV radiation. We're being bombarded by pollution, all that. And right now, you are healthy. But this is time to do something. The problem in our society right now, in Canada, the United States especially, is that the time we act is a time when we are ill. Our healthcare system has been designed for those people who are deathly ill. And the worse you are, meaning the closer to death you are, the more reactive our system is. And unless, I don't know, if you're a low acuity patient, they could care less. And that's a reality of our system. Our system is horrible for that. Canada is horrible. And right now in Ontario, whether people realize it or not, is that the doctors are being held hostage. They are only allowed to send their patients to so many specialists a year. So if they don't get it on the first go round, you're out of luck. You got problems. So the time to look after your health is when you're young and you are healthy. To give yourselves the building blocks to continue that, get into habits of doing that. And if they say, well, I'm eating a balanced diet, I guarantee you don't have enough sterols, you do not have enough lignans in your diet. I could name off a few things that you just don't have in your diet. And, we all want to live longer, but we want a quality of life at the same time. No one says, I want to live forever. Well, I don't know if I want to live forever, but you want to live with a quality of life. And I think we forget that. We don't want to be bedridden lying there and say, well, I'm 65, but I can't move. I can't go out. I can't talk to people. We want a quality of life. We want to do something. And so the time to do it is when you're young. The time to do it is when you're healthy and continuing on that streak. And I firmly believe that we have to look after ourselves because our healthcare system is not going to look after you at that point.
I could not agree more. Yes, I could not agree more. As the old saying goes, right? We always use it, but we don't really apply to it, which is prevention is better than cure, right? I mean, you want to try to prevent as much as you can before you actually look for that, doctor.
Well, you know what? People never have enough money to prevent something, prevent an illness, do they? They don't want to invest into their own health. But as soon as they're sick, they'll pay anything to have that cured. And I do believe, I understand that, but I don't think that's the best philosophy in the world. You really do have to look after yourself while you're healthy.
That's it. Exactly.
Give ourselves the building blocks to be healthy. So, and we have it here. Like that's the thing. We've got the products here that are proven to work. So.
Absolutely. And I'm looking at the message here from John and Sherry here. Add more years to your life and more life to your years. Absolutely. You definitely want to do as much as you can. I mean, at the end of the day, we all know that, at some point we're going to go, but at least enjoy what you have in the meantime. Another question comes in here. The first one I can probably answer is, can we make advertising videos about the product using data from the brochure? I would say yes. As long as the information you're using is from the company, right?
Yeah, and as long as you're not making claims, and we have to be really careful, and it does vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. But please be very careful. If you use terms like cures cancer, cures this, it's going to cause problems for, because because of the, here's the irony, because of the good work everyone's doing out there, because everyone is talking about this, because everyone is promoting it and they're discussing this product, all of a sudden the world's eyes are upon us and they're listening. People are listening to everything that they're saying. And as soon as there's a misstep, believe me, I hear about it. I get that. They go, oh, guess what? So and so said something. I don't like that. And the councils, and they take a very harsh look at us right now. Not because they're mad at us, they just want to make sure that we're within the guidelines of the industry. And then it gets worse if we get the governments involved. So what we're trying to do is not to stop enthusiasm. I think it's wonderful to see people enthusiastic. It's just understanding that, we don't want to make false claims. And please don't say this cures COVID or prevents COVID or all that stuff, because COVID is something that we should not be talking about in writing to anybody. You tell people I took it, and it really helped me during that period of time. But for us to put it in an advertising piece is a big no-no, because governments don't allow many companies to do that. Even things like hand sanitizers, you're not allowed to put the word, although they said we want hand sanitizers to help against COVID. If you put that on your package, it's called a recall. And which I've seen. So we don't want to do that. So that's why we want to be very careful on how we approach things.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why we have always that, writing on top of whatever is posted. I know our Renee Liao, our youngest millionaire, uses it all the time, that Fountain of Life is not a cure and it's not a medication. It's simply a powerful antioxidant. So definitely. Another question that comes in, I spoke about how Fountain of Life helped with my iron. So the question is, how does FOL affect your iron level?
Well, it's, to be honest with you, there's no building blocks to iron, right? Within Fountain of Life, because there isn't that impact. However, if you're being impacted by chronic inflammation, then that's where it really comes down to. If there's a chronic inflammatory state that's causing you to become iron poor, I really can't explain it any other way, because really there's no building blocks. There's no building blocks in Fountain of Life for iron. And we've never made that claim. I know people have said that it's helped them, but again, it's probably something to do more or less with the chronic inflammatory state that they had before. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. So no building blocks. However, it can still help. It did with my case. I know that for a fact, but everybody is different. And that's what I always recommend. Just because someone, FOL helped with someone their sleep, it doesn't mean it's going to, everybody's system is built differently. But one thing I always say to people is, no matter what, if anything, it is helping you, right? It's helping you with your overall DNA, your overall well-being, not a specific issue. I don't recommend to people by saying it's going to do this for you. Now, the question is, another question I have here is, for somebody who has been really, really sick, let's say, who has been in and out of a doctor, what is your recommendation to FOL to ensure that we manage the expectation of that person, which ties right into what we're talking about?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they're asking, to be honest with you. Like when they said they've been in and out and sick, that's a pretty broad term, right? Is this a serious illness, whatever? The thing is that you got to ask, they have to have a discussion with their doctor mainly, because if they're in and out seeing the doctor, they're probably on some medications. So the best thing they could do is have a discussion with the doctor and just say, is it okay for me to take, change my diet? Is it okay for me to add in antioxidants into my diet? I'd like to use an antioxidant like flaxseed. Will this impact my medications? And why am I saying flaxseed? Because flaxseed converts to enterolactone, just like Fountain of Life, but it doesn't do it as efficiently or as powerful. But the doctor better recognize what flaxseed will do to the medication. And I would highly recommend they have that discussion to understand that. And they should have a discussion with the doctor, in case they haven't had the discussion, as to how diets are going to impact their well-being. I think that's really important, and what they could do to augment whatever they're doing at that point to address that. But because this question is really broad, I don't understand exactly what's going on, nor is it really any of my business, to be honest with you. I think it's really important that overall we have these discussions with our healthcare professionals so they know what they're dealing with. Please don't keep anything a secret from them. It's not, your life is more important than that, okay?
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. One thing I recommend to my clients is to actually take the brochure and have the doctor take a look at it. And I can't count the amount of times they come back to me and they say, oh, my doctor recommended this product. They said it's good. Antioxidants are good for you.
Yeah,
So
and it's just that you don't want to make that assumption, because if you're a cancer patient and you're undergoing chemo or radiation therapy, you should not be taking any antioxidants. And so you've got to really understand why you're taking something and the consequences of that. And you should always follow the doctor's recommendation first and foremost.
absolutely. So cancer patient that's undergoing chemo, not recommended for FOL. I heard that a few weeks ago. I remember when my sister Vern was hosting it, and I was like, wow, I didn't know that. So
Yeah,
definitely.
and the reason being that the antioxidants can actually protect the cells, the cancer cells that they're trying to eradicate. So you don't want to do that, because chemo, I know people have gone through it, bless their hearts, and there's the strength that they show. That it's a very tough thing to undergo. Radiation therapy is another thing that's very tough, and they show a lot of strength and determination going through such an awful procedure. So at the same time, we don't want to prolong that for them at all.
Absolutely. Now, there are more questions coming out for FOL, but I wanted to
Okay.
flip the script here a little bit and talk about our amazing Fairy Flawless. And I know that right now we are repackaging and something exciting is about to happen. Can you talk to us about our anti-aging product? Sometimes the question that we get is, since it's anti-aging, does this mean it's for people that are certain age and up? Is it for everyone? Also different skin type? Can you talk to us about Fairy Flawless, please? And why does it work so well on all people from all backgrounds?
It works on the majority of skin types and everyone, because it's almost impossible to hit all the marks. But this is a really good product line, like it's an outstanding product line. And what I mean by that is that when we take a look at Fairy Flawless, the design of it was a regimen. And we took a look at all the things that are involved with skincare and what are the issues. What are the issues? The issues really are is that you're buying products that don't work. Really. And so we looked at things. We started out, well, how does the day start? We looked at the cleanser. Can we make a better cleanser? And the answer is yes. We don't have to have a cleanser that's gonna make our face tight and dry. Everyone thinks that being tight and dry is an excellent thing, but really we're just adding more stress to our skin. So we needed something that was going to be gentle on our skin, that's going to keep it nice and moist and relaxed that way, and at the same time get rid of the debris. And so we came up with that with our cleanser. Then we added in our day moisturizer, and day moisturizer was designed to protect. It's designed to protect us from the elements, basically. It was designed to, and you got to understand the philosophy that this is an anti-aging product. The next question someone's going to ask me is, then why don't we create a sunscreen? Well, that's a whole different area of science. So that's why we did not do that. That's a whole different area. But, we created a product that is going to moisturize the skin during the day and reduce free radical activity on our skin by mopping up free radicals. Then we looked at the eye and the lip, and they're very similar, having 1/3 density of the rest of our tissues on our face. So we wanted to make something that's going to support that, something that's going to provide hyaluronic acid sphere, that's going to moisturize the face. We put in oleosomes that are going to penetrate, moisturize. The things that our eyes and the lips really give away our age a lot of times, when you see people with crow's feet and all that. So we wanted to make products that is going to actually do something. And it's sort of amazing what was developed and what our scientists really came up with. And so, we had a biomimetic element to it that's going to just relax the skin so we're not forming new wrinkles on it. Then we use optical diffusers so that you can't see all the lines and wrinkles on the face. So we came up with things that are unique that you don't see anywhere else. Perfluorocarbons that were promoting gaseous exchange and reducing the amount of CO2 in our tissues. So at a certain level, really effective. And then, of course, our Quad AG. The Quad AG really supports the processes at night to support the skin. Our skin is trying to recover from the day's activity, so it's very important for us to have things like that. Microsilver is an amazing element that will help your skin look better. And it will help the skin's processes. It will reduce the bacteria load on our skin. And it works over time, so that's why it works really well.
I love it. As soon as we started talking about the skincare, we have a lot of questions coming in. I love this. So the first one is, can I use Revive 5D and the Quad AG both in the morning and in the evening?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're just suggesting you can use it anytime. You're not going to cause any problem. Use it. You use it anywhere in your body, to be honest with you. But we did have it designed for the night during the process. But yeah, you can do it anytime.
I love it. I know that personally, when I started using our skincare, the first thing I noticed about the cleanser is the fact that it cleans everything simultaneously. In the past, I've used so many different cleansers. Guess what? They will never get rid of my, eyeliner or my mascara properly. Okay. Even my lipstick sometimes is matte. They wouldn't take care of it. So I had to use makeup eye remover specifically, and then the cleanser and all these products. So now with one product, I feel like I was just woke up again when I washed up everything. That's the first thing I noticed. I remember. And then of course the eye serum under the eyes. Incredible. Because of my allergies over the years, I have developed black dots at the back here at the bottom of my eye, and it really helped me a lot. So I couldn't agree more with you.
Genetically, you've got good skin, though, overall. You really do. So you have more collagen than the average person. Anyone who is from the Black culture should understand that you're blessed with more collagen, 4 times the collagen of a person who is Caucasian. And we're studying that because we're doing resurfacing of using lasers at one time. I was going in there, and we're going through all these, scales and everything, taking a look, because we want to know how the laser's going to impact it. But we were looking at the collagen reformation in the skin and how important that is, and why certain skins behave differently, and understanding that. So there's genetic differences in people, and you have to understand that as well. But at the same time, it doesn't mean you don't need the product. Just because you got great skin, you want to have great skin longer. So please use a product that's going to support those processes.
Absolutely. I'm a perfect example. No matter how good my skin is, I still use my Fairy Flawless, and it works remarkably for me every single time. So another product that I want to talk about before we get into questions. Questions are piling up. I love this. Everybody's awake. Actually, maybe before I move on, there's one more here. Is the Quad AG considered as a moisturizer? I find that using it with the Revive 5D, it is more moisturizing than by itself.
Yeah, it's a moisturizer. A lot of emollients in it. The one thing about quad AG is to understand that it is loaded with a lot of things that almost makes it like a solid. So you only have to place it on once. When I say just place it on once, not rub it, because it will pill on you, and that's what's happening because you're taking out the moisture in the product, and it does harden up on the skin. But yeah,
Love.
it does have moisturizers in it, definitely.
Yes, yes. Another phenomenal product I really want to talk about tonight is our Posh Sensual Shampoo and Conditioner for the women, and of course we have the Posh Captive for the men. I remember during the boot camp 2 weeks ago, we were in Toronto. A group of us ladies went together from Ottawa to Toronto, and of course we were sharing rooms, and we were comparing how much our hair grew within the past year since Posh Sensual. Everybody says this much, another person this much. We're all comparing it, and it was incredible. And of course, we're all different ages. Yes, we might have the same background, but I guess the question is, what is in our shampoo that works so well with making our hair look healthy and grow so fast?
Well, it comes down to the scalp, doesn't it? It's not really the hair itself. We're looking at scalp health more than anything, and we're not focusing necessarily that in our presentations about scalp health, but I see it very, we have that in this formulation. We have a Pisces extract in the formulation. We have a number of things in that biotin, things that is going to help our scalp. And if you take a look at the formula, without getting too scientific about it, we're just trying to make sure that our scalp is healthy, that there's good blood flow. And if you have that, it is gonna spur on hair growth. It does happen if, as a result, we're adding the Pisces extract that's in Fountain of Life topically, but it will spur on her hair growth. It will reduce all the damage caused by free radicals. It mops up free radicals effectively on the surface of the scalp. So very important. And so that's why you're going to see hair growth. But at the same time, we have other things, hydrolyzed silk proteins, things, a keratin in there that's going to strengthen the hair. So it's not going to break. So people are, we could do all the, fixing of our scalp, making it better. But if our hair is brittle and breaks off, that's no good. So we have to strengthen the hair at the same time. And that's what's happening. It's a 1-2 punch with this. And that's why it's so effective. Okay.
I love it. I love it. So you all heard that. Next time that you talk about our Posh Sensual, also include is going to help with your scalp. That's awesome. I didn't know that. So that's good. That's what we need to focus on from going forward. Okay. So now I guess it's time for us to take some questions. Thank you everyone for participating. I'm loving this. And so here we go. So I guess taking us back here to Fountain of Life, how does it help with sleeping?
Well, I was going to lower, one thing about sleep is that it's usually caused lack of sleep. It does tie into things like anxiety, thing like that. So, one thing that they've discovered, and I didn't have this information a year and a half ago, but they discovered that the 7-HMR lignin does pass through the blood-brain barrier. They didn't know that. They just discovered that. And so they think that helps us in our processes, reduces the anxiety, everything that's connected to that. And that's why it works. In terms of helping us sleep, just reducing anxieties that cause it. Is it perfect? No. Is it a sedative? No. But what it's going to do is that it is going to pass through there and helps. And if you have anxieties that way, and you just want to reduce it, you want to help yourselves, place it under the tongue. It's absorbed rapidly and allows the 7-HMR to get into our bloodstream a little better. That's all I know so far, because this is a work in progress, and I'm constantly talking to the scientists who are researching that way to find out, exactly what's happening in our bodies. And it's sort of new, and I'm sorry that it's sort of new, but it's incredible how it really does make a difference in our well-being and our quality of life.
Amazing, amazing. Another question here is, I was approached by someone that said they had the world's most powerful antioxidant called nanoglutathione. Are you familiar with this?
Glutathione is a natural antioxidant that our body produces. if you take it, I've heard that when people say, well, we've got glutathione in pill form or whatever. The thing is, we ingest it, our body tears it apart. So I don't know the mechanism by the way it gets into our body. We have to explain that because really our digestive system is sort of brutal on products like that. So no, I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't think that, quite honestly, that I don't understand. Like glutathione is important. Believe me, it's important, but it's part of us, a part of you, part of me, and part of everyone on this call, that our body produces glutathione. Having it in pill form or whatever form they have it in, I question because I don't know how we get it into our systems. Yes, if they have it, it's powerful. But how do they get into our systems to make it so that we can actually use it? That's my question. No one's been able to answer that to me. I'm just curious because I would take it otherwise because I think it's important. But I'm not going to take a product that my body is just going to tear apart and spit out. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I'd rather not. And that's why I've never taken glutathione, because I don't know how it's going to get into my system. They might have figured a way of isolating it and everything, and creating it and synthesizing it. And it takes a lot of brain power to do that, but I want to know how we're going to get it into myself. They have been all, and that's the sad part. They can't seem to understand, to explain that to me. And I've asked them because I said, I'm interested in your product, but how on earth does that glutathione get in so my body can use it? And they go, it's really, really powerful. I said, that's not the question. So I don't know. I'd like to hear more, if anything, but it so far I haven't heard any way of being able to ingest it. So maybe there is now. I don't know.
Wow. You know, what I love about your answer there, David, is even you are open to learning more, right? This is why we do this product Crossfire every night, every Monday, is for us to learn.
Nothing like progress, though. You never know. Like, I mean, seriously, like but it doesn't take away from what Fountain of Life offers. I think, as I say that, I think people should realize we still don't have enough lignans in our system. We don't have that in our diet, so we should be taking more. That doesn't, just because I say, oh, I think I'd like to look at, I'd explore it. I'd explore anything if it makes sense. But at the same time, that's it's just my scientific curiosity that way. But at the same time, let's be honest, we got to really balance our diets. It's really important to do so.
Absolutely, absolutely. So another question comes in. I have a customer that asked if the sensual conditioner can be used on the scalp. Can you please advise? I think we already covered that.
That's where it should be used. It's designed for the scalp. Yeah. Not just the hair. Put it right in the scalp. It's going to really make a difference, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so another question here. Okay, so unlike other people's good example for hair growth with FOL, I have been since February 2022 losing hair. Okay, about hair volume lost by now. Seems to observe hair drop started since contrasting. Okay, COVID in February. For background information, I've started taking FOL since August 2021, moving up from 10 drops to 20 drops to 25 drops. What should I do to help?
Okay, number one, you have to find out what the problem is. What is causing the hair loss? There's several. I like, if it's age related. Okay, if it's age related, it could be the fact that your body's converting the testosterone into dihydrotestosterone, causing hair loss. Yes, I know women don't have as much testosterone in their system as men, but they still go through the same process. And a little bit of dihydrotestosterone causes volume loss in hair. That could be it. But at the same time, when you're saying COVID, okay, there's another concern in there, and that it could be a side effect from COVID or the vaccine. So they have to sit down with their doctor to discuss, to really find out what is problematic. And I know the challenges, and I apologize to all the doctors on this call, but a lot of the doctors are saying, well, I don't know, because the information is too new. I don't know if that's true or not, but personally, I went through that with someone in my life who can't get answers, but I've pinpointed it along with her that, they've had issues with unfortunately with the vaccine itself. So I think that you have the one thing you have to do is really talk to your doctor and figure that out. Okay. And if you don't think it has anything to do, you have to eliminate what the problem is. Okay. And so you can move from there. Without those answers, you really can't do anything about that. But I would say do that first. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, another question here is when we're talking about earlier, the equivalence of taking Fountain of Life, how many lignans is going to give you versus, other antioxidants. So the question here is, what is the equivalent to the 50 milligram in the amount in drops of FOL?
Okay. Well, everyone on this call should know this because everyone should have this bottle on here. And it's listed on every bottle. I like to point this out because this is when it says it right here. What does it say? It says 5 drops equals how many milligrams of lignans?
6.2.
6.2. So 5 drops equals 6.2. Okay, so we could all do the math from there, right? So I just want people to understand that we do put that information out there so that they know what product they should. And if you haven't read this label, please read the label. This is a natural health product. This is a product you're selling and you're promoting to people. This is really important that you do that you do understand that label. It is important. Okay, so it says 6.2 for every five drops, right? So if you do 25 drops, well, you got 30, 31 milligrams of lignans if you do 25. So if you want more than that, if you have to do 50, we're saying 50 because on average we're going to take some in our diet, everything like that. So if you want to really truly hit 50, you want to take a few more drops. Okay.
Yes, if my math is correct, it's 40 drops.
Yeah. So it's easy, right? It's easy to figure out. But we do have that information on our bottles, so just in case. Okay. That's not to make anyone look dumb. It's just that I'm like everybody else. I don't read labels too easily until someone says you should read the labels once in a while. So I'm trying to be better at it.
I love it. I love it. And there was another question in the chat earlier. I hope that you can put it in the Q&A, even though our time is almost up here. The question was, how does our shampoo, whether it's the Posh Captive or the Posh Sensual, help with dandruff?
What's that?
Dandruff. Our shampoo, how does it help with dandruff?
Well, it's not a dandruff shampoo, but the Fountain of Life extract has been tested against the Malaysia furfur fungus, which causes dandruff. So there's two things in there: bacteria and fungus just cause dandruff. So Malaysia furfur is one of the culprits, and so that's why we can eliminate that. We can eliminate the factor that leads to that sort of problem. Seborrheic dermatitis is something that we really can't. It's really hard to handle at times, and it could be seasonal. There are a lot of factors to it, but I would think that you could try our shampoo just to reduce that because it will help. It will reduce the bacterial and because we do have an antimicrobial in there as well as an antifungal in there to help reduce that. Okay.
Amazing, amazing. Now, another question here is, I know that for our skincare, I know the answer to this. Do we have Fountain of Life on all 5 pieces or some of the pieces?
Some. 2, to be precise, in our day and our night. So the Fountain of Life extract we placed in our day moisturizer to reduce the amount of free radical activity, and we did the same for the Quad AG.
That's it. So a Fountain of Life is in our day moisturizer and night serum as well. And speaking of night serum, the question is, what does a Quad AG actually mean?
What does AG mean? It means silver. So we want to point that out. So Quad AG it's got 4 active ingredients, 4 with the AG meaning silver in there. So we want to promote the microsilver that we're using it. What are the 4? Well, we're taking a look at things like, the emollients in there. We're looking at the things like the hexapeptide 14, which is important for collagen stimulation. The Quad AG contains microsilver, contains the fountain of life extract. So we have 4 really important aspects to that, and that's why it's called Quad AG.
I love it. I love it. This is becoming a more of a 101 class, right? We're learning all the basics here. This is awesome. Another question here is before we wrap up the call, because I know that we're at the top of the hour, can FOL assist someone with a brain tumor? This person is active, just at times she forgets things and is keen to try it.
Well, they got, like I said, you got to discuss this with their doctor, right? The answer is, the easy answer is yes, of course, but you want to make sure it's gonna, when I say a brain tumor, there are many types. So we want to make sure that we're dispensing out the right information that's safe. So what we have to do is have that discussion with the doctor to make sure that using a product like Fountain of Life will not adversely affect them. They might be really keen to try it, and that's wonderful, but let's be safe and always give them the right, information really seriously. Like, we want to be safe at all times. So I would say that, yeah, overall it should be okay, but let's talk to your doctor to make sure that taking an antioxidant like this is not going to impact you negatively. If the doctor says no, go ahead, it's not going to affect you, then do it. Take it under the tongue. Please take, if you anything to do with our brain, take it under the tongue and see if that helps. At least 30 drops a day. But first of all, talk to the doctor, okay? And
Yes.
your doctor's your best friend at that point.
I have here my sister Nora saying that she used it herself and it helped her bust her tumor. I know that she has a very powerful testimony with her brain tumor. So absolutely, always consult with your doctor to be on the safe side there and to make sure that you are doing the right thing. Okay, so we are coming to the top of the hour here. I want to thank everybody for participating. Thank you for tuning in. It's been an honor and pleasure to have all of you with me today. Even though our SVP Sanaz could not be here, we still did it, right? We did it. Would you say that we did it? I think we did it together. I want to say a special thank you to my sister Vernicia as well, who is, I know, taking notes as this is happening as our host qualifier. And of course, I want to thank our amazing special guest of honor, David, none other than David, who's here for us week after week. The level of commitment. For the 4 years I've been in the company, I've seen him every single Monday. I don't know how much longer he and our SVP Center has been doing it, but what an honor to sit here and listen from him. The level of commitment is incredible. So David, I want to thank you so much.
Well, thanks, Ziffer. It's been 5 years now for me.
There you go.
5
4 years
years.
I've been seeing you. So
at one time I was young. That's all I can say. I can't say anything more. I was young at one time, and I'm gonna be that old guy gone.
I love it. So if you want to see young, go back to 5 years ago, the product Crossfire.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna do recordings and I'll just put it up, and so I'll look ageless that way. How's that?
I love it. I love it. And I have two last announcements to close with tonight here. Just as a reminder here, we have our amazing revolution, our amazing mega promotion. Let me go back here. Here we go. Yes, our Safe Home Revolution. All night we've been talking about Safe Home, right? Well, this is an opportunity for you to help people around the world to make their homes safe again. by extending them this amazing promotion that has been extended thanks to our CEO, who we always call a CEO with a heart of gold. It's happening until April 30th. So if you have not shared it, now is the time. If you are a guest on the call, whoever invited you, get a hold of them and say, I want to take advantage of the Safe Home Revolution. When I saw this promotion, I tell you, I was screaming. I'm like, can I start all over again? I want to re-register again because it's never been seen before. I talked to people 10 years in the business, 13 years, they said they've never seen it. So this is an amazing opportunity to take advantage of this promotion ASAP. And of course, I want to remind all of you for our forensic networker to call tomorrow with none other than our CEO and founder, the visionary behind Opulence Global. It's happening at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Zoom. And we're going to have another phenomenal host that will be taking over. Tonight is actually my last night with all of you. I had an amazing week. I want to thank all of you for your continued participation. I will be on the calls, of course, throughout, as always as well. But it's my last night to sit in front of you. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you, Tim. Thank you to all of you. Have an amazing night, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. And I want to say to the billion, everybody. Okay.
Thank you, Ifra. It's been
Thank you.
wonderful.
Have
You
a good
take
night.
care. Stay safe, okay? Thank
I
you,
will.
everyone, for allowing me to join you. Take care.
Bye, everyone. To the billion. Yes.